In today's video, I would like to explain party list proportional system of voting for a parliament, for a legislative election. How does it work? Basically, the system is proportional. If a party gets 10% of the vote, they get 10% of the seats. Some countries have national lists, some countries have regional and provincial lists. South Africa in particular has both a national list and regional provincial lists. Each political party sets forward a list of candidates they want to represent the people in a particular area or the whole country. Number one on the party list is the party leader, or the leader of the party in that particular district or province or region, or the party favorite in that area. If a party gets, let's say 5 seats is 10% of the vote in a particular area, in a particular district. So the political party that gets 10% of the vote in that area is entitled to 5 seats. And it goes down in a descending order, the most from the party leader to everyone who's ranking further downwards in importance of who is going to be elected. Further down you are on the list, the less likely you are to get elected. So, because if you're entitled to 5 seats, numbers 1 through 5 are elected. Now some countries many countries actually, all have different nuanced ways of counting the overall proportionality. And I haven't gotten into greater detail of how it works, but the basic principle of party lists remains the same. Open lists is where you'll see the names of all the candidates and you can vote for your favorite on the list. And then it gets preferential voting. Let's say a political party is entitled to 10 seats, but number 12 on the list gets enough votes to be bumped to number 10. Preferential voting. Closed lists are when you only vote for the political party and you don't know who you're voting for. They don't give the list of names. The political party doesn't give the list of names. Now, there's also a percentage threshold used in some countries to prevent ridiculous one-seat parties from popping up. For example, 2% or 5%. So there's not all these tiny factions in parliament, because remember, the system is proportional. And sometimes the parliament is too deeply divided, so it needs a percentage threshold. And sometimes rural areas are given more seats than they're entitled to, so they're not outvoted by urban areas. Sometimes this creates a slight disproportionality because the rural areas are overrepresented, as in Norway, for example. Now, Russia and Turkey have a very, very high percentage threshold. Russia has 7%, Turkey has 10%. And that is not proportional, because then many minority groups are denied a voice in parliament. That percentage threshold is just too high. So those except for Turkey and Russia, most countries that use the party list system overall are proportional. by the way, Indonesia and several Western countries in Europe, several countries in Western Europe use the party list system. And I also know that Brazil uses the party list system. The two largest countries that use party list proportional are Indonesia and Brazil. Now, what are the pros and cons of party list proportional? Well, let's look at the good things. It's easy to understand and implement. It's very straightforward. Maybe not as straightforward as first past the post, but it's overall easy to understand how the parliament will be, the resulting parliament will be. Easy to understand and easy to implement. What you vote for is what you get. So you get exactly what you voted for. You're almost certainly likely to gain representation in this system. This is not necessarily a good thing for someone like me, well, not someone like me, for someone with my views, because some people don't deserve representation. Like fascists. They don't deserve to be represented because they are anti-democratic and anti-human rights. A point which I'll get back to later on. So what you vote is what you get. So everyone in a country will be almost everybody will be represented in the parliament. Now, here are the problems. Members of parliament will not be loyal to their constituents. They will be loyal to the party leadership because people voted for the party, not the individual members of parliament. So each member of parliament will say, here's what my party says, instead of here's what my voters, what my constituents say, what the people in my district say. And that's where I'll take a position on the issue, instead of what the people of my district want. However, some MPs might act a little bit more independently if they had their name bumped through preferential voting. They wouldn't be in parliament because they were low on the list, but they had their names bumped through preferential voting. Those MPs could act with a little bit more independence from their party. So, and also brings me to my next point here. There's no constituency link. When a voter has a concern, he wants Parliament to discuss, if he has any concerns, he does not know which member of Parliament to contact. There's no link between the voter and the MP because they're voted in through party lists. People like that constituency link. Now, then there is the worst problem this system brings. Extremists. I discussed them in a previous video of how extremists get elected. But the party list system is actually their favorite system. The BNP in the United Kingdom, the British National Party, actually wants party list proportional because they know this is the easiest system for them to go from 0 seats to 50 seats overnight in just one election. This is the biggest danger in party list proportional, which is why I'm against proportional representation, and which is why the party list system is not my preferred system, my preferred voting system. Some politicians say that the party list system creates a deeply divided parliament, and which results in constant hung parliaments and constant coalition governments where politicians and political parties have to water down their election promises. Now, deeply divided parliaments, and then larger parties have to rely on the support of smaller parties, which might be heavily demanding, and then they have to water down their election promises. I apologize, I repeated myself there, I recognize that. I'm not too bothered by this, because the majority of the people who voted don't want certain, the majority didn't vote for one political party, so that doesn't mean, how do I put this, yes? That doesn't mean certain policies must be implemented. Certain campaign promises must be implemented. I'm not bothered by this because the majority didn't vote for those policies. What a political party needs to do in a proportional system is saying, here's our key promises that we will not compromise on, that we will not break, and here are our additional policies that we might tweak a little. So the key promises have to be at a bare minimum. The certain key promises. And how is watering down campaign promises, and how is not fulfilling all campaign promises any different from first past the post, where the politicians only serve the interests of a certain group of people and not everybody? How is that different? Oh yeah, they fulfill 100%, but not for everyone, only for certain people. Only for a certain group of people. And they also behave arrogantly because they know that they can do whatever they want because the opposition is divided in their particular district. Their opponents are divided in the districts. So how is that? So how is watering down election promises worse than politicians that only serve the few and that are in safe seats? Now, I think that does it for party list proportional representation. See you in my next video.